Today's What's Worse? Very easy for me.
Uh, oh, yeah. This is no hot water or no air conditioning.
I accept that I'll probably be in the minority. Anyway, we got 30 seconds.
All right.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer on the board. It is Wednesday, July the 30th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite, and it is
Hump Day.
There we go. Halfway through another work week. Rain coming down right now at the world headquarters in downtown Madison, Wisconsin on State Street. Cloudy skies, but a steady drizzle all morning here. Forecast calls for more showers and garden variety thunderstorms, as they say across the state. I love that term, garden variety thunderstorms here and there.
It is pretty good.
Across the state. And then kind of clearing off now, if you're a listener on WMDX in Madison, or if you're planning to drive in for the concerts on the Square tonight, and it's already the final concert on the Square, the Capitol, can't believe it, but that has been postponed until tomorrow night due to the rain. So be aware of that. Concert in the Square here in Madison, postponed until tomorrow night. Before I forget, July the 30th, the birthday of my compadre, as we say in Spanish. In other words, the father of my godsons, Kurt Kohler, in Monroe, Wisconsin. Although he's traveling, I understand, for work this week. But happy birthday to Kurt. It's Kurt's birthday. So, Kurt, happy birthday to you, my friend. Always appreciate Mr. Kohler. Always appreciate our guest on Wednesdays as well. He is the host of Mornings with Pat Kreitlow every morning from 6 until 8. He joins us from the lovely Lake Wastota Studios, Mr. Pat Kreitlow. How are you, Pat?
Here he is, getting some errands done. I hold in my hand. I feel like Karnak the Magnificent. You know,
Yes.
I got the envelope here, but I know the contents of the envelope. It is my second half property taxes that are due tomorrow. So I bring that up simply as a public service to listeners who go, oh, can't forget that. Second
I
half
appreciate
property
that.
taxes due tomorrow. So I got to drop this off at the post office right after this fine appearance on this fine radio program with our fine
It's that
host.
I had the farm, and it's that time of year for people to pay in those two increments like that. It always comes up fast. For some reason, the July one comes up because the end of the year is the end of the year. Then it's like, oh Jesus, July, right?
Yeah, that's where I give myself a little pat on the back for remembering back then to put something in my Google Calendar for today, because otherwise tomorrow I would be hearing about this and going, oh my gosh, it snuck up on me. So sometimes I remember to put something way in advance on my Google Calendar. Wonderful invention when you use it.
That's the key.
When you
Many
remember to use it, yes.
Many people say it to me.
we were making plans for this weekend. I was all set to go. I'm like, something was nagging at me. And then I got a text late yesterday from somebody I haven't seen in a long time saying, hey, are we still on for dinner Friday? Oh, yeah, that's right. When you texted 3 weeks ago, I did not put that on my calendar. And now
it's those kind of things sneak up fast. So remember, folks, if you owe property taxes, the first half, if you pay it that way, is due today. Our normal friend Trygve Olson, senior advisor of the Lincoln Project, has copped out again.
Our normal friend Trygve Olson? No, come on, let's not give him too much credit.
All right. He's traveling. He's traveling as he's talked about this program. His wife is originally from Lithuania, and this is really cool. They go back. He and his wife take their two daughters back there over the summer for about a month or so every year to make sure they stay in contact with their grandparents and their family. And his kids are bilingual in Lithuanian. So he got in late. The plane was delayed, as many flights are these days. And he called me. And he had one of his daughters call me doing a very good British accent.
Oh, great.
And it's like, hello, Mr. Allbaugh. This is Mr. Olson's secretary.
Nice.
And he gets on. He goes, Todd, I only had an hour of sleep, and it's going to be 10 o'clock in Lithuania. Do you really want me to come on at 10 o'clock with only an hour of sleep?
Yes.
I said, nope.
Yes.
Nope, I do not.
That's
I
what listeners do. They're like, oh, unfiltered Trigby After Dark.
Right. I said, nope, we'll see. But he goes, tell Pat I'm going to be talking to you guys next week from the beach. I said,
Nice.
okay.
All right.
So he'll be back next week.
Good.
By the way, the Brewers, I got, for those watching on the stream, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, I have my Milwaukee Brewers Bob Uecker jersey on. Brewers, big couple of wins the last couple of days, but holy cow, as the late, great Harry Carey might say, the Cubbies have come back in Game 3, and at the top of the fourth, it's the Chicago Cubs 5, the Milwaukee Brewers 1.
Yeah,
So-
that's okay.
Our free ticket Friday winner, Jim in Brookfield,
Yes.
sent us a picture that you can see if you're on the stream.
Hey, look at
enjoying the
that.
game right now from those great club level seats.
I
Look
love
at
those
that.
seats. I was in those seats last Friday afternoon for a game just like that, and it is a lot of fun. Obviously, more fun when they win, but a lot of fun. That's great. I'm so glad he sent that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim. And the game can be heard right now across many of our Civic Media radio stations over the air. We're not able to stream the games on the Civic Media app, but you can hear them over the air in places like Oshkosh, Richland Center, up in beautiful WBZH in Hayward. There was one more I'm forgetting, Pat. I can't remember.
I didn't hear the whole stream
That's
there.
fine. Yeah, you can hear about
Richland
many
Center.
of
You
our
always
stations.
forget Richland Center, don't you? So.
But you can join Pat starting at 6 o'clock on Friday, and then Jane and Tom Hartman, myself, and Maggie Dawn all day long, free ticket Friday, your chance to be in those seats, just like Jim was today. Hopefully it's only the top of the fourth, still
I'll say
plenty of
there's
time for the
plenty of
Badgers to come
time.
back. Or
Yes.
Badgers.
We've
The
seen this.
Brewers.
We've seen this a lot throughout, so I am not concerned yet.
Yeah, absolutely. You were there Friday, you said, Pat?
Friday afternoon. It did not go well for the team then, but again, still a lot of fun. Brought a couple of the grandkids, the 3-year-old and the 6-year-old. Went looking for the playground that they said was out in the right field corner, only to find out that there's some construction going on in the right field corner. So we did eventually find where they had moved the playground to, but the 3-year-old and the 6-year-old, they don't really get into the game so much. So you have to remember it's more of a family experience, which means Grandpa got them a big old bucket of cotton candy.
Oh,
And
good for you, Grandpa.
occasionally, my daughter would share like one of the peanuts, in the shell there. And all the 3-year-old knew to do, she just put it on the ground and she stomped on it because it was funny.
Right.
Well, she saw the
Entertainment.
shells on the floor. People eat the peanuts and then they throw the shells down. So she thought, well, that's where the peanuts belong. And then she'd stomp on it. And then she bent down to try to pick it up to eat it. It's like, no, that's okay. It's okay. Here's another. Try again.
Exactly. Jim in Brookfield texted in and saying, I'm having a great time. Thanks to Civic Media. Hoping for a rally. Thanks again, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yep.
thanks a
We
lot,
got
Jim.
that.
Mark on the watch on Facebook, Pat was talking about paying his property taxes today. First half they're due. Says it would be nice, Mark says, with the property taxes getting so high because of Republicans failing to fund schools where they should be funded, that one could pay them in 4 payments. Well, that'd
Yeah.
be nice, Mark.
Quarterly would be nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
That wouldn't be bad at all. Pat, I like your input on this. Pat follows, and you do a great job on mornings with Pat Kreitlow every morning talking about public schools and Wisconsin Public Education Network. But we were up there last week for their statewide summit, and we had a member, her name escapes me right now, but a member of the Green Bay School Board who did do you remember the name?
Yeah, it was Laura McCoy.
See, look how young minds. I love it. Thank you, Thomas.
I know. The youth, they're so on top of it.
Laura McCoy came on, and Pat, I want your take on this because this is a question that I'm going to be asking every candidate for state legislature coming up in 2026. What Green Bay has done is they worked with the city council and Mayor Gingrich up there in Green Bay to pass something whereby when people get their property taxes in the coming year, it is going to be a transparency issue where the school portion of their property taxes is going to be delineated out now in the Green Bay school district, so that property taxpayers can see exactly the amount of their own property taxes that they're paying towards schools, but is being taken away from Green Bay public schools and given to voucher schools. This issue of transparency, I think, is brilliant. Your thoughts, Pat?
Brilliant, overdue. Democratic lawmakers have been trying for about a decade, maybe longer, to get this kind of honesty and transparency on our property tax bills so that people know how much is being skimmed, my word, right off the top. Because before state aid goes to public school districts, before that happens, the allocation for the voucher program is taken first, and then what's left goes to the public schools. But on the property tax bills, year after year after year, you just see a line there, like I do, that says Chippewa Falls School District. And you go, oh, I cannot believe this much money is going to the school district. It's not. It never was. That's the combination of the two. They don't break down how much of it is skimmed to go to the voucher program. For years, Democrats have been proposing this. Republicans in the legislature have always not allowed it to come up for a vote or voted it down. And so finally, at the local level, you have people in Green Bay leading the way to saying, well, if the legislature doesn't want to be honest with property taxpayers, we will. We'll break it down on the bill. And, congratulations. That's great. It's way overdue. So now that they're in Green Bay, they love talking about this, that they led on this. And I just say, keep talking. Let's keep getting other communities to do this, as long as we make the point that this should have been done a long time ago. And there are certain people who want to hide the true cost of the voucher programs, rapidly approaching $1 billion a year from you, the property taxpayer.
Couple of things on this, talking to Pat Kreitlow of Mornings with Pat Kreitlow. A, I agree with you, Pat. B, we had a Representative Ahmad Rivera-Wagner on our show last week up in Green Bay as well. Talk about a rock star legislator, in my opinion. But I think it's a great example when city councils work with school boards to get this done, because it takes a joint effort. So different parts of government working together is fantastic. But to your point, Pat, as well, this is exactly what we need. Because if I'm just I'll just say that I don't like this, but the average taxpayer, where they're not obsessed with maybe the political stuff like you and I are.
Right.
And they say, well, hey, I keep my property taxes keep going up. The school district keeps passing referendums. What are they doing with all this money? I think that's a fair question from your average taxpayer. But this is showing people, hey, yeah, you are paying that, but we're not getting it. The referendums you're passing aren't even going to your own kids or grandkids.
Right. That same lack of transparency came with the federal pandemic aid, where, again, the Republican-led legislature said, well, we're going to continue to shortchange schools by the amount of the federal aid, because now you get this federal aid to backfill it. And you got school districts saying, well, wait a minute, what happens when this pandemic aid runs out? And the answer is, well, you're just going to have to jack your property taxes that much higher to, backfill what had been the federal aid. Because the state, meaning the Republican legislature since 2011, has not kept general state school aids up with the pace of inflation for all this time that they've been in the majority. School districts fall further and further behind. And as you know, I'm sure you heard this a lot, zero increase in general state aids in this new budget, which means the cycle of referendums is only going to continue. So anything in this ongoing parade of referendums that brings a little more transparency to why we are where we are will get more people to do what I always say: vote yes on the referendums, vote no on the politicians who made you have to go to referendum all these times.
Well said, Pat Kreitlow. No, this is great, and we need more of it, more transparency, because when people really understand where their taxes are going, I think that makes a change, to your point, Pat, how they vote in the legislative contest. We're going to come back, talk to Pat a little bit about redistricting, new news out of Texas today, and what kind of impacts it may have here in Wisconsin. Don't go anywhere. It's Todd, it's Pat, it's Wednesday across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
You can write me off, 'cause I ain't giving a dime to the IRS.
5-2 now. William Contreras with his second home run of the game.
Nice. Here we go.
Right now, during the Verlo
Right
mattress
back.
clearance sale, you can save even more with Verlo's already low consumer direct prices. Oh, you'll find phenomenal savings on floor models and discontinued mattresses. And all our mattresses are made locally, just for you, and are backed by our lifetime comfort guarantee. Oh, but you better hurry. The sale ends soon. Wake up, sleep better, and save at Verlo.
Craft cocktails, live events, a playground for the kids, and yes, self-serve instant ramen bar and drag bingo. It's all at Downdrin's Distilling in Cottage Grove. It's not your average tasting room. Pet-friendly, family-friendly, flavor-packed. Visit downdrins.com or stop by today.
Let's go Brewers. You can go to the Brewers.
Wait, Todd, what?
It's Free Ticket Friday, Terry. A chance to win a 4-pack of Brewers tickets several times every Friday. Great seats, by the way.
Okay, so download the free Civic Media app, find your local station, and listen for the keyword. Then text it through the app for your chance to win in this statewide contest.
Free Ticket Friday. On your local Civic Media radio station and the app.
My name is DeMar Hamlin. I play for the Buffalo Bills, and I play safety. CPR saved my life. I've teamed up with the American Heart Association as a national ambassador to help create a nation of lifesavers, turning bystanders into lifesavers. Through CPR
All right,
education
so
and access
I
to
queued up
NEDs,
I'll Feel a Whole Lot
nearly
Better
3
by
out
the
of 4
Birds.
cardiac arrests
I'm not
don't
trying to say
happen in
I'll feel a whole lot better when
hospitals
Pat's
and
gone. You guys talked about voting people out. So, you know, I'll feel a whole lot better when Derek Van Orden's gone, for example.
all right.
I just wanted to clarify that.
The John and Gordy Show.
Beef is always, it's been
so
going
expensive. I've never been able to buy beef. Never.
the last couple of years.
Just ground beef, maybe. That's it. And every once in a while,
30
I
seconds.
Thank
promise my kids who are Gen Zers that one day they will taste beef.
The reason why, oh, I can say I have to let you go, baby, and right away. After what you did, I can't stay on, and I probably feel a whole lot better when you're gone.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 23 now, past the hour of 2 o'clock on Wednesday, July 30th. The birds, we don't play enough birds on this show. I love the sound of that. I love the song.
We don't play enough of the Birds.
No.
And what made me think to do so is because Pat's here. Because the last time I played a Birds song, he was here and he sent a private message. He was like, yes, more birds.
Did he really? That's
Yeah,
great.
you
did.
played 8 Miles High, which I really
Oh, yes.
enjoyed.
Yes.
So that
very
was,
good.
That was very nice.
Zauer's little under the radar message there. Be glad when some of these legislators that are not voting for transparency. Be glad when they're gone. So nicely done, Zauer's. Welcome back, Pat Kreitlow of Mornings of Pat Kreitlow. Every morning from 6 until 8 is our guest here on a Wednesday. Pat, take a look at some of the headlines today, and I find this fascinating. Well, first of all, very quickly, and I'm not sure, I've been in meetings here before the show, but it's just coming across what I'm seeing now. Former Vice President Kamala Harris has announced that she will not run for California governor in 2026. Again, former Vice President Harris saying she will not run for California's governor in 2026. Of course, she was a U.S. senator there before she became vice president, and there was some speculation that she may run for California governor next year, which may or may not preclude her from trying to run for president again in 2028. So by passing on the California governor's race, does that indicate she may or may not be a presidential candidate? Well, we'll see. But I just find that interesting. And it ties in with the subject I really want to talk about, Pat. And again, scanning CNN's cover page, I mean, they're talking about the Fed holding interest rates steady, talking about Hamas, Harris not running again. High Noon issues a recall after selling some vodka seltzer mislabeled as Celsius energy drinks.
Oops.
So that's what's making the headline. What is not making the front page of CNN is something that broke a couple hours ago, and that is Texas Governor Abbott, Republican, has released what they're proposing as the new Texas congressional maps. And in short, and Pat, maybe you've had time to look at this more than I have. This is just kind of coming to my attention here in the last hour or so. But it appears now what the Republicans in Texas and Governor Abbott are doing are gerrymandering the congressional maps in Texas, which, if all things went, quote unquote, the way they usually do, which means that Texas might pick up an additional 5 Republican seats. And there's a lot of speculation about Democrats picking up taking control of the House. Now Gavin Newsom, current Democratic governor of California, signaling that he's not going to let this stand, that if this goes through in Texas, that California is going to redo the way that they do new map, new redistricting. Of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger, a different kind of Republican in a different time, in a bipartisan fashion, went directly to referendum of California voters, and they set up a nonpartisan commission. So now you have this back and forth for using this power, Pat, and I want your take on this because I get it. What Abbott and Republicans in Texas are doing is 100% wrong. It's basically rigging the election potentially. Do you let that stand if you're a Democrat that has power to stop it? But if you do, does that take away Democrats' ability to take the high ground when it comes to redistricting? I ask you, Pat Kreitlow.
Before we get into the X's and O's of it, let's just make sure that we are clear on one thing. This is a new era that we live in now, where not only are you not penalized by your own supporters for cheating, you are now expected to cheat. This is straying so far from the American ideals of honesty and integrity and credibility, and again, I shouldn't say lifting politics, bringing politics down to the gutter level of, entertainment and professional wrestling and things like that, and say, you're our team, so you can take a heel turn and you can cheat, and we expect that of you. The reason you haven't seen Democrats do that by and large is because Democrats would still say, 2 wrongs don't make a right. We're not here to embrace that. We're not here to cheat. We're going to win honestly. You've made the hill a little steeper for us, but we're going to do it. But having said that, this one is so blatant, so nakedly partisan and ambitious that while I would not suggest it, if I were in the legislature, I would not propose it. If you were in a deep blue state where Democrats had the ability to do this without paying a penalty, I can no longer say that I would advise against it, because again, it is just so obvious what they're doing. This is not honest political debate. This is essentially political warfare. And in war, all things are fair. Nobody asked for this war except the people who started it. And that's where we are at this point. This is the level we have sunk to until voters stop rewarding people with whom they would normally agree, but say, no, this is too far. Maybe this Texas map is too far. Maybe the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing is too far. I don't know. But right now, I cannot in good conscience tell the people of New York or some other deep blue state, you really shouldn't do this. Maybe they should. Maybe that's where we've come. And that's what it takes to get us to independent redistricting moving forward.
I want to be respectful of your time. Do you have time to come back at least for part of the next segment to continue this, or you got to run?
Buddy, I'm here for you. This is
that's the kind of guy Pat Kreitlow is. Yeah. Because I just really appreciate your insight on this. I think this is a really important discussion for everything that you just said. I don't really disagree that much with you. I've been a proponent that, hey, I wanted fair maps in Wisconsin. I didn't want maps that tilted Democratic or partisanly Democratic. I just want fair maps. But I think you bring up this great point that this is essentially political warfare, but it's also a war over democracy in this country. And that could be the thing that really gets killed by this political warfare. This is really important stuff. Nobody's talking about it. Pat Kreitlow, We're going to talk about it with you. Call in 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Pam Yankee, farm update next, and then more talk on this redistricting and the consequences after this on Civic Media.
News and great conversation.
Thank you. Excuse me. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I think this is really important stuff to discuss.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No problem.
Learn more at civicmedia.us/advertise.
It's the season for summer weddings.
I'm just shocked. Like I say, you go on CNN and there's no mention of it.
I'm Kylie Allen.
I'm just like,
it's all second nature now.
Yeah.
Today we hear about some new regulations that are preventing some couples from hosting their events out at those barn venues. We have Jean Bond of Farmview.
What is making news on the front page of CNN? Former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has dinner with Katy Perry in Montreal.
I know. See, entertainment.
Right?
With not
Just
being able
sad.
to have what they want to serve their guests for refreshments, or they are not willing to have a alcohol event. It's just not what they wanted. So it's really being a challenge. We're feeling it right now. Weddings book out a year and a half in advance. So this law really, we are looking for somebody to step up before we completely lose everything in 2026 for our wedding season bookings.
That's Jean Bond of Farmview Event Barn along with us today. Stick around. We've got a look at some more news after this.
At Channel, we always show up for our farmers. Is that tar spot or rust? Incoming!
I thought that was outside. Like, who's lighting fireworks off in the rain?
Let's call your agronomist before that rust can hurt your yield. That sounds great, but when did you learn to skydive? Self-taught, Bill. Kind of a prodigy. From personalized insights to year-round support, Channel Seed Pros always show up. Visit channel.com to learn more. Channel, all in, all season. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
Unique farming operations need unique financial solutions. Egg Country Farm Credit Services offers customized financing that fits any size farm, ranch, or agribusiness. The next time you're in the market for more land, equipment, facilities, or maybe even an operating loan, contact the team at Egg Country. They know agriculture and will work for you. Egg Country. Focused on ag, focused on you. Egg Country is an equal opportunity lender.
Farmers may face new requirements for using crop protection products as the Environmental Protection Agency implements an updated herbicide and insecticide strategy. These strategies are rooted in the Endangered Species Act, and they dictate if, how, and when certain pesticides can be applied. Following the act, new pesticide labels will include
David New
specific
Berlin texting.
language about
Crazy Dave
protecting
from New Berlin
endangered
thinks they should put
species.
nutritional information on
Farmers may
Elmer's glue
also
because
be
we all
required
ate that
to
crap
check
when
an
we were
online
kids.
database before spraying or adjust applications based on weather conditions.
Not all of us, Dave.
For the full story, visit MidwestFarmReport.com.
Dave has stated before his goal is usually just to make Todd laugh during breaks.
To have the
That's true.
latest Wisconsin
And he
ag
usually
news
succeeds.
delivered straight to your inbox every morning. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Kylie Allen.
Reach, engage, grow with Civic Media. Log on civicmedia.us/advertise.
Darker, damp, and dreary today with on and off showers and some thunderstorms. With heavy rain at times, flooding is possible. Temperatures much more refreshing, with highs staying stuck to the low 70s. An air quality alert in effect, though, for wildfire smoke. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. It's 70 degrees at our studios.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
Frank Anderson, who is the founder of WisconsinOlogy.com. You were great in the documentary. That's really exciting.
I'm really not as a documentary filmmaker because I get bored so quick. You have to really dig into your subject, and you got to show up every day, sometimes for years,
Yeah.
to let a story unfold or to find a story. I'm good for one day.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
About 15
Weeknights
seconds.
from
All right,
6
thank
till
you.
8 on your
Pursuing truth wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Glad to have you along. 35 now, past the hour of 2 o'clock on a rainy Wednesday, at least here in downtown Madison. Pat Kreitlow, our guest here, a little extra time because Trigby is an international traveler and man of mystery. So Pat's been kind enough to say, I'll chill with you for a few more minutes here on a Wednesday. We appreciate that, Pat. Rain up in Lake Wissota right now or blue skies?
No, not blue skies because of the wildfire smoke, but we've got some clouds out there, but the rain is well enough to the south that it is not a concern here, and it is my hope that there will be a little boat ride on Lake Wissota a little later on this afternoon.
Good for you. By the way, Pat pulled in on his quote-unquote pontoon to Green Bay, and it was beautiful. I posted a picture, and it was beautiful.
Okay, that was a genuine LOL when I saw that yacht that you posted.
Did you like that?
That was
Yeah,
good.
somebody pulled into the Fox River. I mean, it was a huge yacht. I mean, I didn't even know they could put those things in the Fox River. And I'm like, oh, I got to razz Pat a little bit, but yeah, that was something else.
It really was. I would that would almost scare me. I mean,
I know,
but
really.
It
It
yeah,
would, yeah.
but I get it gives me a better appreciation for the people we're dealing with when it comes to things like big beautiful bills and billionaire tax cuts and things like that.
Exactly. I appreciate you sticking around, Pat, because what we're talking about again. By the way, quickly, the Cubs now 5-2 still is the score over the Brewers in the bottom of the fifth. So Brewers try to come back here in Game 3 of the series. You can hear it over the air on many of our stations in Civic Media. But this issue, Pat, of redistricting, remapping, not making a lot of national headlines right now, and I really think it should to catch folks up. And if you, Trady Olson, normally here on Wednesdays, traveling of the Lincoln Project, his boss or one of the co-founders of the Lincoln Project, Rick Wilson, has a great Substack today. I'd highly encourage you to check it out. It's called The Redistricting Arms Race: Why Democrats Must Fight Fire with Fire. Of course, Rick Wilson, a former Republican, and to Pat Kreitlow's point before the break, that this really is political war. And Wilson makes, he points out again that Governor Greg Abbott, Republican in Texas, this is not a case like Wisconsin where there was a lawsuit and they said, look, this wasn't done legally. We have to redraw the lines. No. Abbott's calling a special session of the Texas legislature to come in and redraw the maps essentially out of spite, purely for political reasons. And Rick Wilson makes the point in there, and now apparently in Florida where Rick Wilson is based, Ron DeSantis is considering and saying he might do the same thing now in Florida. And so Rick puts a bunch of things that he knows Florida law or legislature pretty well, things that Democrats could be doing. And Rick Wilson says in Texas, even if the claim that the current districts violate the Voting Rights Act is built on sand, given the GOP map makers previously testified under oath that they didn't use race in drawing them, that's perjury. Or it's manipulation. Either way, Wilson says, I'm famously not a lawyer. It sure looks actionable. So Rick Wilson is saying Democrats should take it to court. He's calling on leaders like Hakeem Jeffries and Gavin Newsom to flock to Texas like locusts and do media down there. And then he says finally that Democrats should be going to war, political war over this, and he condones Democratic states redrawing maps if that's what it takes, because he said, like an arms race, this is deterrence. Pat Kreitlow?
Well, yes, because again, much like the people that gutted campaign finance reform, Democrats would be foolish then to say, well, we're still going to abide by campaign finance limits that no longer exist because we think that's just the right thing to do. That is, the quintessential bringing a knife to a gunfight situation that we've got going on here. Look, the right wing plays the long game on this. All right. This dates back to the Supreme Court's Shelby County decision of 2013, which basically gutted the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and said that the former states of the Confederacy no longer have to, abide by certain requirements before they make changes to things like maps. Then people said at the time this is going to lead to gerrymandered maps, and of course we heard, oh no, not now. Anyway, fast forward a dozen years, and that's exactly what the culture has become. And it takes us to this place. Today is the 60th anniversary of the signing of the Medicare-Medicaid Act. It has taken the right wing 60 years, but they are closer than ever before to gutting that part of the social safety net. Days later was the passing of, or the signing of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. In other words, next week marks the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. And similarly, the right wing is closer than ever to making it essentially meaningless and continuing its assault on democracy in this country as well.
If you want to weigh in, 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842, or you can text us on the Civic Media app, talking about this story here out of Texas, saying that Republican Governor Rick Abbott saying that he's going to call a special session of the Texas legislature to redraw the maps blatantly in favor of Republicans, which could be an addition of 5 or 6 seats out of Texas in the House of Representatives to help give Republicans the absolute power in D.C. Let's go to the phone lines. Mark, listening in Prairie du Sac. Mark, thanks for listening. What's the...
Well, it's particularly ironic because if I remember right, that the Voting Rights Act used to be celebrated by Republicans as well.
Yep.
At least
Yep.
used to come out and actually say it, whether they actually did or not celebrate it. But I think to heck with this. I mean, Wisconsin Republicans are howling now that a group is now suing, taking a case to the Wisconsin Supreme Court to redraw Wisconsin's map. And I think, draw Mr. Tiffany and Mr. Van Odd-One and maybe Tony Weed out of their districts by, a reverse gerrymander on those guys. I mean, that hypocrisy there is just galling to me, that these guys are, not one Wisconsin Republican is decrying Texas is doing this, I would guess. They're not condemning, Greg Abbott or any of the Texas legislature for entertaining this idea. So turnabout is fair play, and that... that Pat is right. We have to go to war over this, and and point out the fact that these guys just want to resurrect the Confederacy. I mean, and that perhaps the Union was too merciful to the Confederates after the Civil War.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. I'm not sure I go quite that far, Pat, but I'll make clear, especially in today's day and age, we're talking about political warfare. We're not talking about violence.
Right.
Physical violence.
And look, there's enough of that talk on the right. There's a lot of talk about, militias and things like that. Nobody's talking about that. We're talking about the tactics that you would otherwise not use in politics because, we're supposed to be better than that. But at some point when you are faced with the people who are trying to literally undermine your democracy, you have to turn to the tools necessary to preserve any kind of a sense of balance. I wish it weren't at this point, but this is where we are. It just reminds me of back when they split up Dakota into North Dakota and South Dakota, so that they could have 4 U.S. senators instead of 2, twice the number of congressmen, which was, again, some of these things are as old as the Republic, but you know what? Maybe it's time to create, East New York and West New York, whatever it's got to be. Let's...
855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Let's head down the road for Pat's at Lake Wissota to Gene in Eau Claire, listening to WCFW, The Tap in the Chippewa Valley. Gene, what say you?
Good afternoon, guys. Outstanding show. This is, I'm 70 and I've been paying attention live for a long time. What's going on in my government? I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. I've never seen where not one Republican will stand up against the things that are taking place in our country right now, making enemies of our countries, both sides of us, going out on the world stage, making deals with pretty bad people that we wouldn't want to even associate with. The lies, the deception, and the disgusting behaviors of the United States Supreme Court and the money involvement in there. I mean, this is unbelievable. You have to fight fire with fire. They use those tactics, you use them right back, because we're talking about the America as we know it and the future for all the young people. I mean, this is so disgusting. I just can't believe what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing. And Epstein, that was brought up by Trump and Republicans, and they wanted to get all those people they were not telling truths about.
Yeah.
It needs to come to the public. It really
Thanks, Jean.
does. So I'm supportive of getting that stuff out. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Outstanding. Bye.
Thank you, Gene. I appreciate it. Pat, to Gene's point there, like I'm a former Republican, and like I say, I want as close as we can get to nonpartisan decision making on redistricting as possible. That's my stance. But also Gene's point, what you were talking about earlier, that this is something where my former party, if they use these sorts of political manipulation, this could be the tools they need to get to one party rule into perpetuity.
And that's the goal for far too many people on what is the far right, not the mainstream Republicans who wanted to solve problems, who wanted to govern rather than rule. There are still ordinary Americans like that all the time. They keep wishing Trump away. They keep wishing away the demagogues, the people who want to create a theocracy here. But at some point, you have to actually vote for the people that you do not normally agree with, but at least stand with you on American values like democracy. We'll go back to fighting later about, tax rates and things like that. But right now, this is an existential crisis for our country. What some of these, far right people in power are doing right now. And it's an all hands on deck situation, which is really tough to do when our media ecosystem is so fractured and failing us and covering, what was it? Katy Perry and who?
Katy Perry and former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Oh, well, that counts as political news, I guess.
And that's on the front page of CNN right now.
When you go, why are we like this? It's there's multiple reasons. That's one of them.
855-752-4842. Let's go quickly to Jack in Merrimack. I just like saying that. Jack in Merrimack. Jack, got about a minute. You're on with Pat and Todd. What say you?
Oh, boy. Well, where do I start? First of all, let me say I respect everything that Joe Biden did. I respect him as a person and a politician. He did the best he could, I think. However, he did not do two things that he should have done. The first thing that he should have done is realign that Supreme Court. And there are good reasons for expanding the court to 13 members. I won't go into it because there's not time. The second thing he should have done was put through the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. A lot of this stuff wouldn't be happening if that had been done. Having said that, yeah, we definitely have to start fighting fire with fire. We've got to start taking this kind of essentially an oligarchy that's approaching a dictatorship to the court.
Jack, I'm against the clock. Pat?
I just think you understand the passions that are involved in this now. And I want to caution against it. I want to caution against, crossing a certain line and keep that spirit of John McCain in us rather than, crossing a terrible border.
Well said, Pat Kreitler. You can hear him every morning from 6 until 9 across the Civic Media Radio Network. Thank you, Pat. Have a great day in Liquid Soda. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Come on back. More after this on the Civic Media Radio Network. You're amazing. Thank you for taking the extra time.
For you, buddy. You got it. I will talk to you later.
Best. All right. Thanks. Bye.
See you, Zombies.
Radio Network.
Blind Shot Social Club, a perfect blend of
Are there some people who on the MAGA party who cynically are just trying to grab power? Absolutely. But there are some who think they're doing the right thing, and so when you use their tactics, yeah, it's,
indeed.
But when you don't, and then you lose everything anyway, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to make these choices.
Right.
voting rights cases by individuals and advocacy groups.
At 3
July
or 3-3.
29th, the Eighth
Awesome.
Circuit
Thank you.
issued
Appreciate it.
Another finding that individuals and groups can't sue using the Voting Rights Act. This is the third such negative ruling on the private right of action, but for the moment, it still only applies to the 7 states in the 8th Circuit: Arkansas, Iowa, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota. In a 2023 Arkansas case, an 8th Circuit panel ignored decades of settled law and found that the Arkansas Conference of the NAACP and the voters it represented did not have standing to bring a complaint under the VRA Section 2. Instead, it gave the U.S. Justice Department the sole authority to bring Voting Rights Act complaints. Legal scholars deemed it a fringe ruling because historically, 90% of voting rights cases are brought by individuals and advocacy groups. The July 29th decision involved a challenge by an Arkansas
I just sent you a
group to
cut.
assist non-citizens with voting.
My sister just sent it to me from Cory Booker. I'm not sure if that's from today or when that's from.
Allows such assistance.
I'll see what I can find.
Thank you.
Whether the U.S. Supreme Court will stand on precedent or back the Eighth Circuit's crusade against voting rights. We've linked to the decision at AmericanDemocracyMinute.org. I'm Brian Diaz.
If you love animals and want to help in Dane County, shop and donate my Dane County promo at one of Dane County Humane Society's thrift stores. They sell gently used and new clothes.
Looks like
home
this was
goods, toys,
posted
furniture,
22
and
hours
more.
ago, so it must
All
be from yesterday.
proceeds support the comfort and care of animals in need. Dane County Humane Society thrift stores.
2 and
Shop
46.
Thrift Store West on Watts Road and Thrift Store East on High Crossing Boulevard. Visit giveshelter.org/thrift to learn more. Not as
My
good as
part-time
the bang
service
on the
in the Army
hood.
National Guard makes it possible
It's
for
no
me
fun.
to
It's not a
do
criticism of you. It's just
No, I didn't make that
what we
one.
had to work with. Oh,
when I
you didn't do that one.
example.
No, we just recorded it and I sent the audio to whoever else made it.
Allows me to keep my
Maybe
people
if I
For those,
did.
know
for
and
those,
care
yeah,
about safety
for those
threats.
watching, we did a winter one where it was banging on the hood to get your cat out from under the car.
We could play that during the break.
Sponsored by the
30
Wisconsin
seconds.
Army
All
National
right.
Guard.
Sorry, during, in between, I don't know what I'm supposed
We'll
to say.
see.
During the secret show. I'll say that.
Shooting troops wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 52 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock. That's 8 minutes before the hour. And I know people, and I appreciate the heads up. I forget there's a delay sometimes if you listen to us on the stream or whatnot, and there's a delay in case somebody says something not supposed to. It's called the dump button. Not when you got to go to the bathroom, but when you say something you shouldn't, then Zommers pushes it and it deletes
the last few
Yeah,
seconds.
Exactly. So because of that, and I forget who brought this to our attention.
Yeah, one of our listeners texted in and is like, what's worse, a show host who never says the time or one who's always a minute late? And we're like, well, you know what? Good point. We often forget about the delay. When we say the exact minute,
right?
Because it'll be between minutes usually, it might be a minute later.
So
But
when
you know
you
what?
hear,
Close enough.
by the time I say it's 8 minutes before the hour of 3 o'clock, it's 7. So
Now it's 6.5.
Now it's 6.5. So just be aware of that. All right. But again, let's get a quick update here on the Brewers game. The Brewers, the Cubs in that last game of a 3-game series. Brewers have won the first 2. Cubbies are trying to get revenge. It's the top of the 6th inning. Cubs 6, Milwaukee 3 in the top of the 6th with 1 out. So we'll continue to track that. Hopefully the Cubs can get a loss here, another L, and the Brewers can sweep this series. But we shall see. Coming up in hour number 2, what's worse, a hot water or air conditioning edition? We'll talk about that in hour number 2. But I want to finish up this discussion because, again, I think this is really important. And it's just, this is the kind of stuff that frustrates me from legacy media, mainstream media, whatever you want to call it. and I use a lot of stuff from CNN off their website because it's usually written pretty well, that or CBS. I'm looking at the front page of CNN.com right now. And former Vice President Kamala Harris saying she will not run for California governor in 2026. All right, that's fine. You've got stuff here about a tsunami in the Pacific from last night caused some damage in Russia and Japan. All right, that's fine. But then you've got on the front page Ozzy Osbourne's funeral. All right. Former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau having dinner with Katy Perry in Montreal. And actually, I am entertained by this part, this one. Oriole and Reese's fans have been begging for a mashup for a decade, and now it's here. There's going to be Reese's Orioles soon. And I'm not saying that's not important, but I'm just saying for a legitimate news organization on their front page to not have this story that broke only a couple of hours ago, I just think is fascinating. And that is that Republican Governor Greg Abbott has said that he is going to call a special session of the Texas legislature to redraw the maps. Essentially, my words, out of spite and for political reasons. There's no lawsuit pending that I know of in Texas forcing this like in Wisconsin. He's just saying, look, basically, paraphrasing, Trump needs a few more seats of Republicans to maintain control of the House of Representatives next year, so we're going to redraw the Texas maps to make sure he gets at least 5. And Cory Booker, United States Senator, on the floor of the Senate yesterday, took it to his own party because Pat Kreitlow was part of the Wisconsin legislature as a Democrat. Rick Wilson, a former Republican operative, today in his Substack, saying Democrats need to not be weak-kneed on this, especially. They need to fight political fire with political fire. Because if and when the MAGA Republican folks get absolute control through political trickery, it's going to be really hard to get that back. So here's Cory Booker taking it to Democrats yesterday on the U.S. Senate floor.
The Democratic Party needs a wake-up call. I see law firms bending a knee to this president, not caring about the larger principles, that those free speech rights, that you could take on any client, why are you bending the knee? I see universities that should be bastions of free speech bending at the knee to this president. I see businesses taking late-night talk show hosts off the air because they dare to insult a president. I see people who want mergers suddenly think that they have to pay tribute to this president. And what are the very people here elected to defend the Constitution of the United States saying, oh, well, today, let's look the other way and pass some resources that won't go to Connecticut, that won't go to Illinois, that won't go to New York, that will go to the states he likes. That is complicity with an authoritarian leader who is trashing our Constitution. It's time for Democrats to have a backbone. It's time for us to fight. It's time for us to draw lines. And when it comes to the safety of my state being denied these grants, that's why I'm standing here. Don't question my integrity. Don't question my motives. I'm standing for Jersey. I am standing for my police officers. I'm standing for the Constitution, and I'm standing for what's right. And dear God, if you want to come at me that way, you're going to have to take it up with me, because there's too much on the line right now in America. As people's due process rights and freedom of the speech rights and secret police are running around this country, picking people up off the streets who have a legal right to be here. There's too much going on in this country.
That's Democratic U.S. Senator Cory Booker on the floor of the U.S. House yesterday. A fiery speech. In my opinion, not unwarranted. And look, a former Republican left the party in 2011. I don't want either party to have absolute control. I just want a fair political fight. I want fair maps. But these Republicans today, well, they're not even real Republicans. They're MAGA folks. And I'm talking about the people in office. And if Greg Abbott in Texas is going to manipulate the maps to ensure absolute control, then Cory Booker's right. Senator Booker's right. Democrats can't be weak-kneed. Got to have a backbone because democracy is on the line. Come on back. Hour 2 is straight ahead. What's worse? Don't go anywhere. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
This is 92.7 WMDX Columbus, Madison's home for real news and great conversation. A Civic Media station.
Yes, Cam, I've played Majora's Mask. Not the whole thing,
Federal Reserve
but
Board
enough of
announced
it.
it's holding interest rates steady as it watches the impact of President Trump's tariffs on the economy. The president has pushed for lower interest rates. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the overall economy remains resilient.
Changes to government policies continue to evolve, and their effects on the economy remain uncertain. Higher tariffs have begun to show through more clearly to prices of some goods, but their overall effects on economic activity and inflation remain to be seen.
2 members of the board appointed by President Trump dissented. Former Vice President and presidential candidate Kamala Harris announcing she will not run for California's governor. Harris says she will support the power of the people to fight for freedoms. In Gaza, famine conditions getting worse. More than 3 dozen were killed today while seeking aid in northern Gaza. U.S. officials confirming that Special Envoy Steve Witkoff will travel to Israel tomorrow to meet with Israel's Prime Minister and officials on the next steps for Gaza. This is ABC News.
Come work with us. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state. Open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. Again, Wisconsin is under an air quality advisory. The wildfires in Canada are blowing smoke our way. At its worst this summer, you could even smell the smoke as you stepped outside. This morning, Dane County's air quality was listed as moderate. Further north, though, there are many counties that have air labeled unhealthy for everybody. That advisory expires at noon tomorrow. Meanwhile, at least a dozen people from Wisconsin's Department of Natural Resources are being sent out west and up to Canada to help fight the wildfires. And Wisconsin schools are expected to get some money the Trump administration had frozen. Leaders had canceled $6.8 billion in payments to public schools through the Department of Education. States have sued, and Wisconsin
This is a
one
great
of them.
headline.
That money had
French
already
resort
been
town
allocated by
cracks
Congress,
down
passed,
on
and even
half-naked
signed into law by
visitors.
President Donald Trump back in March. Now, the
Interesting.
administration says they'll release $5 billion to go to public schools across the nation. The Madison Metropolitan School District was expecting more than $19 million in funding from the federal government, but the government withheld more than 10% of it, nearly $2 million. Now, an MMSD spokesperson tells me they're working with the Department of Public Instruction to see how that $5 billion disbursement will impact the district's budget. Meanwhile,
Sounds like
UW-Madison
an
has
E-Bombs World
suspended a
headline.
student group that often protests against the war
Also,
in Gaza.
the
Students
AI
for
keeps
Justice in
trying to figure out
Palestine
new ways to
protested a
spell
visit
Pat
from former
Kreitlow's name.
UN ambassador
This
Linda
one is the most
Thomas
interesting I've
Greenfield
seen.
back
So
in
Pat,
April.
P-H-E.
They reportedly
And then
yelled at,
Kreitlow is
heckled her,
spelled
and banged on the
capital
doors while she spoke.
C-R-I-T-E
Officials at
dash capital
UW-Madison held a
L-O-W.
hearing and decided the group broke rules laid out
Haven't seen
in the
that one
Student
before.
Organization Code of Conduct. That's according to the State Journal. Leaders of the group say their voices are being suppressed and they're appealing the university's decision. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson, 92.7 WMDX News.
Are the Packers tough enough? Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. In Green Bay, where the Packers training camp continues, I asked GM Brian Gutekunst if the team has been physical enough in the playoffs against teams like the 49ers or the Eagles.
Cam asks, is the AI bundled with StreamYard? No, it's a separate internal thing that we have that I ignore.
But I think there probably were times in the past where I was kind of think we maybe need to be a little more physical of a football team, but not over the last couple of years.
Baseball. The Brewers with another win, 9-3 over the Cubs. Milwaukee now with a 2-game lead over Chicago. Brewers manager Pat Murphy.
It's a game of people. Those people are at their best self. If Vaughn starts worrying about, like, oh, well, what if next year, what can I'm going to set a record. All bets are off. Oh, I got 19 steals. I got to get to 20. No one cares. You know what I mean? No one will care about your baseball card.
That's Pat Murphy with sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
Join the family. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state. Open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Evening storms, otherwise partly cloudy tonight, a little hazy from smoke and lows in the upper 50s. and it still could be a touch hazy with sun tomorrow. Nice day, though. Highs in the mid-70s. And it stays nice on Friday. More sun and upper 70s. It's 67 right now.
David New Berlin asks, does Civic have any properties in Waukesha anymore?
Physical properties? I don't know.
I don't think so, besides like a tower. I'm sure there's a tower there.
The issues that affect your job, your family,
But like a studio with people there, I don't believe so.
Everything has been moved to Radio City Rocket Park. What's it called? Music
Radio
Park.
Park.
Radio Park. That's it.
Weeknights at 9 right here on the Civic Media Radio Network.
We have Rick Smith show promos
Yeah, I like
now.
that. I like that.
We also got audio for Tom Hartman promos, but they didn't send us the music, so those are just kind of in limbo.
What do you mean audio? What do you mean?
We have his voice of him like, listen on Civic Media from whatever time. But
I'll sell you crypto.
Yeah, really. I tried to find some music that kind of matched the vibe of his show, and I was struggling. All right, 20 seconds.
From the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh, along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer. It is Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite, and it is Hump Day. That's right. Welcome into hour number 2 of the big program. 6 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Glad to have you along from the world headquarters of Civic Media in downtown Madison on State Street. A constant drizzle. It's one of those days, Zommers, of a summer rain, and it's the kind of perfect day. It takes me back to Richland Center, back when I was in school, middle school or even high school, I guess maybe still. And my maternal grandparents, my grandpa and grandma Wallace, had a nice home on Hazeltine Street, East Hazeltine, and it was a stone house, and they had a big front porch out on the front of the house. And it's the kind of day that you could take a drink, a book, something, because we didn't have devices back then. So you'd take a book or a drink, whatever, and you lemonade or what have you, and you would just sit out on the front porch and you'd watch and you listen to it rain.
Porch sitting is a lost art.
It really is. And you would hear the rain on the leaves and the heavier downpours out on the street. And it was so soothing and so calming. And sometimes on a day like today, when it was a little bit, I guess, kind of sort of cooler, but raining like that, Grandma would make chocolate chip cookies or something like that. You have the smell of fresh bakery in the house and the rain coming down, the smell of fresh rain. That's well said. It's a lost art. So that's the kind of day it is for me today.
Yeah, you know what? That gives me, that's a good idea. I should maybe do some of that tonight if it's still raining.
Yeah. Just stick your head out. Don't listen to the devices until we're off the air, and just enjoy the rain. Enjoy the rain. It's a beautiful summer day in Zommers. It's already the 30th of July. One more day left in July, and then we're into August. I know, right? We're into the dog days of August in July. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, lots of Jimmys on the air. You got your Jimmy Fallon. You got your who's the other one? I can't say the other Jimmy. You got Jimmy Fallon, and then you got Jimmy Kimmel. That's what I was trying to think.
it. I couldn't think of it either. I don't know why.
Jimmy
I knew
Fallon,
it was a K, but I just kept thinking Jimmy
Kimmel.
Kuska.
We've got our own Jimmy. Jimmy Kuska is going to be here at the bottom of the hour. New changes a lot. In fact, when we were up in Green Bay here last week, I couldn't believe it. I'm going to ask Jimmy when he comes on at the bottom of the hour. It had to be like the first day that it was legally that football team was able to practice, or one of the first days, because last Thursday I'm up there and at Green Bay Preble High School, beautiful facility, and there's their football team already practicing. I couldn't believe it. And so high school sports is not very far away. Jimmy's going to be in talking about changes to the WIAA, the governing body of high school athletics, and what's new in high school athletics for the fall. Speaking of sports, things have gone from bad to worse for the Brewers in the last of the three-game series against the Cubs. Chicago coming back with a vengeance. They are angry. You wouldn't like it when I'm angry. It's incredible Hulk time for the Cubs. 8-3 Cubs over the Brewers right now in the bottom of the sixth. So still time, but starting to get late. The Brewers just have not played today the way they have the first two games. Chicago 8, Milwaukee 3 in the bottom of the sixth. You can hear that over terrestrial radio, as they say, many parts of the state here on the Civic Media Radio Network. Heather checking in on Facebook, watching us on Facebook. You can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Says, we are sitting in the camper with windows open, listening to the rain while watching you. Nothing better than rain in the camper. Well, that's they're
Very true.
Sister and brother-in-law up at the Dells. Well-deserved time off up there. That's also a thing that we did with our grandparents, camping, and you listen to the rain hit the camper. Very soothing.
That's the best. When you're outside, you can sit underneath something, listen to the rain and read, like you said.
Yeah.
Especially if you have like a dog with you or something.
Right.
It's very peaceful.
Frankie is up there at the Dells. They've got the rain and they got a dog.
Also, I think we forgot the most important Jimmy talk show host, Jiminy Glick.
Jiminy Glick. Yes, there's Jiminy Glick. So tell me. Yes, Jiminy Glick. He's fantastic. So anyway, we'll update you on the Brewers. Hopefully you're enjoying your rainy day here across the state of Wisconsin. So we're going to talk a little sports at the bottom of the hour with our own Jimmy Kuska. And then Zommers, I forget, have you traveled to Europe before?
Yeah, I've been to London and a couple other spots in England.
Look at you. International traveler, man of mystery.
I suppose.
I am
one
not.
time.
I am not. I've been to Central America. I've been to Canada. I have never been to Europe. I'm not allowed to go in. No, I'm just kidding.
That's the only one I've been to.
But anyway, news on travel out of France. France. They're tired of quote unquote half-naked visitors. So we'll tell you about that in this hour as well. But right now, 12 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again for What's Worse. Let's go.
This or that, this or that. Then, of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Time once again for What's Worse. Nothing to wait, no prize, money involved. Just your opportunity to have your voice heard across all 11 news talk stations. As of today, across the state of Wisconsin here on the Civic Media Radio Network. Glad to have you along, and love to have you as an advertiser. And before we go any further, again, a big shout out and thanks to the great NFL Hall of Famer, NFL Ironman, Wagyu beef farmer Joe Thomas for having us out to his farm yesterday in Southwest Wisconsin at Six Springs Farm. Really a great show, a lot of fun. Many thanks for Joe for letting us be out there. And one of their partners in Six Springs Farm and Hall of Fame Beef. By the way, if you want to find out about this, go to halloffamebeef.com. Very simple. Halloffamebeef.com is the website to go to for that. Or you can go to their friends Prem Meats in Spring.
No, it's sixspringsfarms.com is the website.
I thought there was a halloffamebeef.com.
Oh, no, it worked. It just took a little while to redirect it. It brings you eventually to sixspringsfarms.com.
So either one. That's fine. Six Springs Farm, it's plural, or halloffamebeef.com. Go to either one of those to find out more, or Prem Meats, which, speaking of sponsors, is one of our fine Civic Media sponsors on our sister station in Richland Center, WRCL. We appreciate Prem Meats sponsorship out there. But they do the processing for Hall of Fame Beef and Six Springs Farm. So that was my whole point in this, is be like Prem Meats and give us a ring-a-ling at civicmedia.us on the interwebs. And one of our great salespeople will be happy to have you join our sponsor family here at Civic Media. All right. little cooler today because of the rain, at least here in Madison. But it's been hot lately. Don't have to tell Zombers. It's been very hot, sticky. And so timely indeed, our category for what's worse today. No water or no air conditioning. No hot water or no air conditioning. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. What's worse? No hot water or no air conditioning? Give us a ring. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Or you can text us on the old Civic Media app. By the way, also a shout out to our friend Chris Geezy, who is our occasional on-site producer. Does it out of kindness for me.
Yes, thank you very much.
I
We appreciate it a lot. He always does a great job.
He does, and he did the video for us yesterday. It was the key person because he works for Joe Thomas and Six Springs Farm, does almost all their media for them, and so he made the connection, and that would not have happened yesterday without Geezy. So many thanks to Chris for helping us set up, and also he's just a heck of a nice guy.
Absolutely.
To hang out with and have a beer. So many thanks to him. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. What's worse, no hot water or no air conditioning? Have you ever been in the situation, Zombers, where for whatever reason, the boiler, the hot water heater, whatever went out and you had to take a truly cold shower?
I don't think so. I think I'm lucky in that regard. Not that I haven't, been without hot water before. It's just, it was in a situation where, you know what? I'm not doing any crazy physical activity right now. I can put off a shower for a day or something like that. Or like, I need hot water. Well, the tea kettle works. I can get enough to do what I need to do.
No, I appreciate that. I have been a couple of times. Apartment hot water heaters have gone out, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to the office stinking. So you kind of force yourself to go in there. But the coldest shower, I'm not sure if I've said this on the air or not, the coldest shower I've ever taken in my life. Years ago, one of my first probably 6 trips, been to El Salvador in Central America 39 times and counting. Great country, love the people there. But especially when I first started going there in the 90s, it was not uncommon to not have hot water. And so we were in a suburb of San Salvador, the capital, Apopa. We were in Apopa at my friend's sister's house, very nice house, but it was very simple. The shower was just a pipe out the side of the shower wall, and all it was one knob, not two. And it was just cold, and we had to get to the U.S. Embassy, and we had to leave there at like 4:30 in the morning. So I was taking a shower at 4 a.m. in Apopa in El Salvador. The cold, it felt like needles hitting my skin. It was cold. And all I'm going to say is George Costanza had nothing on me in terms of shrinkage after that shower. It was freezing. So I've had a couple of really cold showers in my life. What's worse, no hot water or no air conditioning? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Julie, listening on WXCO in beautiful Wausau, Wisconsin, says, we don't have air conditioning, but we take showers or use the dishwasher every couple of days. So no hot water is worse. All right, there you go. That's a popular, I think, opinion there by Julie in Wausau. Chris in Janesville, listening on WMDX, says, my wife and I say no hot water is worse. All right, very good. Megan in Sun Prairie, listening on WMDX, says no hot water is worse.
Or no, it says no air conditioning is worse.
Oh, sorry, I was reading the wrong one. No air conditioning is worse. Being too hot makes me crabby. Well, I think that's probably pretty popular as well. What's worse, no hot water or no air conditioning? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Let's go to the YouTube channel. Watching on YouTube says, Tim says the worst is that my employer turns the hot water on in the summer and off in the winter. Washing your
doesn't make sense.
Washing your hands is always risky. What?
If you turn off the hot water in the winter, you're going to destroy your pipes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess there's still water in it, but it's just that
it'll freeze.
Well, but you have the cold water side doesn't freeze. It's just so you have water in there and it moves through it. Well, we'll come back. We'll debate this a little bit. Take your phone calls, texts, and off the web as well. What's worse, no hot water or no air conditioning? 855-752-4842. It's What's Worse for a Wednesday in the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Madison, real news and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX.
Get ready, Madison. Elsa's Own Jarocho is now open on Plaza Drive. 5-star authentic Mexican cuisine, fresh, homemade, and the best prices in town. See why one review said, best tacos I've ever had in my life. Elsa's Own Jarocho. You won't leave hungry, just happy.
Herbal Aspect has landed. That's right, Madison's go-to cannabis destination now has a brand new location in Sun Prairie.
Wait, 4 locations? That's a high level of convenience.
With 3 Madison locations and now Sun Prairie, a great cannabis experience is always close by. Our expert staff is here to help, whether you walk in, call, or order online.
That thing we recorded earlier, Luke says all good. Says that where it is playing, timing is less important, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, that's cool. Nice. I'm rolling over now.
Herbal Aspect.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert.
Also good to know for future.
I'm just taking a little detour. I got to fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're going to be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need
People out here
anyway?
on State Street,
I use
folks.
it all the time.
I know
I've
it's
made
raining,
around
but they're
$200.
crossing the
Now
street
pull over so you
on a
can
green
download
light.
the Upside app
They're going to
before
get
you miss
hit.
the concert.
Now, let's see if I can set the
Download the
camera.
free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy
I
gas.
don't think he's going to be able to set up the camera because it is
to get an
taped
extra
to the table in
25
here.
cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LIFE for 25 cents
Todd has
per
discovered
gallon
the tape.
bonus on your first tank. That's code LIFE for 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code LIFE.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal.
30 seconds.
Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Wisconsin.
I try so hard, my dear, to show that you're my every dream. Yet you're afraid each thing I do is just some evil scheme. A memory from your lonesome past keeps us so far apart. Why can't I free your doubtful mind and melt your cold, cold heart?
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 23 past the hour of 3 o'clock. Who was that on the vocals there?
Hank Williams.
I thought it was, but I didn't want to seem to reveal my stupidity if I was wrong. So yeah, the late great Hank Williams. What's the name of that song?
Cold, Cold Heart.
Cold, Cold Heart. Very good. What's worse? No hot water or no air conditioning? That is the question. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Now, Zommers has put up already. So I thought, well, we were talking over the break here in the secret show. You can always watch us on streaming and find out what we talk about when we're not over the broadcast air. It's not dramatically different, by the way.
No.
But people are walking out on State Street right now. It's raining here. Madison umbrellas are out, parasols. Do people use parasols anymore?
I don't think so.
Right. Anyway, they're out there. I thought, well, let's take a look out at a Sam Davidson street cam. And I went to move it over there. Now, here's the deal. A big shout out to our engineer, Chris Casper, by the way, because they installed new proper microphone arm stands. They're beautiful because for a long time we were using Blue Books because they redid the studio and, it took a while for things to come in, which is fine. But here at Casper, God love him, he put in these beautiful arms for a microphone. So now it's very lovely and great for the microphone. And so I went to use the street cam, and it's now, did John and Gordy do this?
Yes.
They have taped down, our morning crew here at Madison, John and Gordy have used some sort of tape. I'm nervous if there are also zip ties and scissors involved. What are they doing in the morning here? But they have taped down the Sam Davidson street cam so I can no longer move it over to the window. So
they must have had issues with the cable pulling. And so that they couldn't use, they use the camera every morning to see either John or Gordy.
Right.
But we use it in the afternoon to look at people.
Right. We just like to be, we're just
People watching.
People watching. I was going to say peeping Toms.
No, not that. Not that.
But we're just looking at people on the street. And here now, there's a bottle of vodka over there on the counter. What is that?
Well, it's labeled as rubbing alcohol.
Oh, rubbing alcohol.
That's also what's in there.
All right, a couple old speakers and whatever. But you can see now, if you're watching on the stream, you can see a little bit of Fairchild and State Street down there. It is raining outside the window. All right. Well, do we have to buy our own street cam now? Is that it?
We'll see, I guess.
That's fantastic. That made me laugh when I went over. I went to move it. I'm like, wait, it's taped down. 26 past 3 o'clock. What's worse? No hot water or no air conditioning? PJ, watching on YouTube, says no hot water. I've had to boil on the stovetop to take a bath when my water heater failed in my house. I then installed a tankless heater. Problem solved. Those are very popular.
They are.
And I hear
they've gotten a lot better.
You never run out of hot water, which I guess I still kind of take long showers, but I used to drain the hot water heater, and it made my family very upset. Rightfully so, because I wasn't the one paying the bills. So I hear that, PJ. Let's see here. Heather watching on Facebook says, FaceTube. I almost said FaceTube. Facebook says, we've had both break in our house. The AC was annoying, but the basement flooding with the broken hot water heater was way worse. What a mess. All right. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Casper, again, many thanks to Casper for putting in these beautiful arms, these microphones. I feel legit now. It makes me, because, I come up short every day as a host, but when you got great equipment in the studio, you feel like you're pretty good.
Yeah, it makes you feel professional.
Right, exactly. I might not, I rarely am, but it makes you feel better when you have so many thanks to Casper. He says, no AC is much worse. Being an old bald guy, I can take a shower in about 45 seconds if I have to. Well, number one, he's younger than me, so I wouldn't call him old.
You wouldn't.
No.
No, I wouldn't either. I just had to say it.
Nicely done, Zonners. Thanks. 45. Now, that kind of reminds me, years ago, my paternal grandparents took the grandkids, like 8 of us at the time, on a trip from Wisconsin to South Dakota. They had a pickup truck with a topper on it. And 7 of the 8 grandkids were just put in the back with the topper on it, with some cushions and a blanket in the luggage. And my youngest cousin rode up with my granddad and grandma. That's a true story. You couldn't do that today.
Oh, no, but not legally.
No. And so there was like, whatever, 8 grandkids plus my granddad and grandma. And my granddad said, all right, everybody gets 2 minutes for their showers. And he was, if you weren't done in 2 minutes, get out of there, and you knew you better.
Wow.
So, yeah, Casper, a quick shower at 45 seconds. What else we got there is Zommers of the old text line. Roger in Stevens Point says, no hot water is worse. I was always without air conditioning in the house until I bought my house 20 years ago. Yeah, people forget. Houses didn't come with central air back in the day. There's a lot of houses that...
Yeah, it is relatively recent.
Yeah, it's not abnormal for a house not to have central air. Also, Connie in the 608 off the text line says no air conditioning is worse. You can always heat water in a large pot on the stove. I've had to do this when my water heater was out. All right, very good. What else we got, Zombers?
We're up don't have much time
Oh,
left.
yeah. All right, Zombers, quickly. I know your answer.
Yeah, no one who listens to the show will be surprised. For me, no AC is worse. But I have health reasons for that.
You're right, you have health reasons. I'm going to say, this might surprise, I'm going to say no AC is worse because it gets stuffy to sleep with no AC. I don't know. I'm going to say no air conditioning is worse. All right, come on back. We're going to talk about the French being ticked off at naked visitors. Don't go anywhere. It's the Allbaugh Show on Civic Media.
That we're talking about was Jimmy Cuska.
Oh, that's right.
Madison's Real News and Great Conversation, 92.7 WMDX.
I have to update my prep, guys. Hold on.
I'm sorry. I forgot.
Hold on. I got to find my information on this. I have something for this.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. You were so kind, and Luke was so kind to do this because Trevi couldn't be on. He was like, maybe I can get you Jimmy, and so I didn't have it on my card. And I got this story about half-naked French visitors, and I just forgot. I'm sorry.
It was funny though.
That's all good. It's all good, man.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How was your visit here to the Driftless?
Oh, it's always fun. It's always a blast. So, and Joe could not have been a kinder person or more gracious host. So, and Brady came down, so that was a lot of fun. And
yeah, Brady's done a lot of good things for youth sports in the area here. I know it's benefiting us here in Boscobel. So it's. Okay. I had mentioned yesterday to Luke or anybody if you needed anything for me to come over and do stuff, I'd be more than happy to because I'm not that far. But I get it. Right. I know they want to keep that thing. Area 51.
Yeah,
secure.
it's locked down for various reasons. So yeah,
I get it. No, I 100% understand. It's the same thing here with everything too. In this general area in southwestern Wisconsin, I think.
Yes.
People that know it, they know it, and but it's really cool that that we've got people that come out here wherever they are in their careers or whatever they've done, they find their way out here, and then it's just cool to see some of these things that pop up like in business and industry and stuff from people that have gone on to do that did big things, whether it's athletics or whatever, and then they make their way out here. It's so much fun. So
no, really, and that I think that's the thing that I don't know if I should say surprise, but I was unexpected. That's the word. It was unexpected because I thought, well, okay, well, he somehow found out about Southwest Wisconsin. And he goes, well, I'm going to come up there to raise beef because he can't do it in Brookfield. But no, he actually, not, I mean, of course, he loves doing that, but he's truly fallen in love with the area and wants to help out the area and other business people and really is all in on it. So I think that's
and I can just speak personally that he has. So it's awesome. So
yeah, that's very cool. Very cool. All right, we'll talk. We won't talk about half-naked visitors, Jimmy, but we will talk about WIAA sports.
Way more interesting.
I guess I got to find some different music.
Oh boy.
All right. I'll have to correct myself when we come back on the air.
I'm here for whatever you want to talk about, man.
I appreciate that.
I have a wide range, so I'm on Schwaba's show tomorrow night talking about kids movies. So.
Oh, nice, very good. I think it's just I'm not really so much physically tired, but I think just like in a good way, you travel a lot and do sports. I mean, when you're just traveling a lot, you kind of get physically just kind of drained a little bit. So
the weather today doesn't help either. Just looking out the window, you're just like, kind of want a nap.
That is exactly right. I could use a nap.
I went back to sleep this morning. I'm not going to lie. Yeah.
I'm coming out to Richland Center tomorrow to talk about Walk with Grace. I'm going to answer the phones tomorrow morning, so that'll be fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The weather will be great here after today too. I think we got like a week of like no rain and beautiful weather. So
yeah.
Great for the start of high school football practice next week.
100%.
100 degrees. It'll be 78.
Yeah.
The Peanut Butter Falcon. Oh my God, I love when people pick a movie I know nothing about. A campy comedy buddy story, really just a heartwarming message. Paul picked
I always regret kindergarten, me not just taking advantage of nap time. now in my advanced age.
You did not take advantage of nap time?
No, I was always the kid that had to be doing stuff when I was a kid. I don't know what my problem was. I couldn't settle. I couldn't sit still. I had to be doing stuff. And now, as a very old person, I just want to nap all the time.
You're younger than me, for goodness sake. Stop. You and Casper are both all these old people things. Come on.
There's a 4 in front of my age now, so.
Well, there's a 5 in front of mine.
Oh, boy.
All right, here we go.
I'll be quiet.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 35 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock on a rainy Wednesday, at least here in downtown Madison, July the 30th. Zommers on the board. Glad to have you along. Now, here's the deal. Before the break, I said, come on back. We'll talk about this story because I guess I'm very excited to talk about it because it's so ridiculous. French resort town cracks down on half-naked visitors. And we'll get to that before the end of the half hour. But as we're going to break, Zommers goes, that's what we're going to talk to Jimmy Kuska about? I said, no. Here's the deal. Our friend Tryggvi Olsen, who usually comes on Wednesday, the world traveler that he is, his plane got delayed on his way to Lithuania to see his family. And he goes, you don't want me to come on with an hour of sleep at 10 o'clock local time, do you? I said, no, I do not. And so he couldn't make it. And so Luke Mathers kindly said, well, how about if I give Jimmy Kuska a ping, as they say now? Nobody calls anybody Zommers. And we're going to ping them. He goes, I'll ping Jimmy Kuska and see if he can. And I said, well, sure, if he has time. And he's such a great guy, such a nice guy, that he said yes. And I just didn't write it down on my card. And so I went to break. I was so excited about the half-naked visitors in France, I forgot about what we were doing. So that said, talking about either naked visitors to France or WIAA high school sports, the one, the only Civic Media sports director, Jimmy Kuska, live from Southwest Wisconsin. Jimmy, how are you?
Hey, I was all ready to go on high school sports, but I'm happy to do the other.
We'll get to that in a little while. I appreciate your versatility. You're a broadcaster who can do it all, and that's fantastic. We'll talk about the French story, because probably part of the funny thing is that I can't pronounce half the village names in this story. So that'll be entertaining in and of itself. More seriously, Jimmy, you are sports director here at Civic Media. We appreciate you. You call sports high school. You call Platteville games on the collegiate level, my alma mater. You do it all. You're here today primarily to talk about, and I can't believe we're going to say this, tomorrow's the last day of July. We're going to be into August, and like it or not, high school fall sports season is right around the corner.
It is, and for a lot of the sports now, the contact part of the summer ends tomorrow. So football ended earlier this week because the first football practices are on Tuesday next week, which is sort of the official start of actual student activity in high school sports in Wisconsin. Believe it or not, the first actual competitions happen August 14th in one of the sports, and then football gets underway August 21st. So in August, we turn the page to the new school year. And yeah, it is really hard to think about because, hey, we're in July, we're thinking we're in the prime of summer, but bam, we're already to football next week. And I tell you, it's exciting every year for this, but at the same time, you kind of wish summer was a little bit longer so you could hang on to it a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I totally, especially for educators. I mean, they feel like they just got off of school, last week, and here they are having a talk already pretty soon about going back to school. Now, clear something up, Jimmy, because I never played football. I was the manager for Coach Elvitus Rip at Richland Center, and it was a great time had by all. But am I just getting old enough I don't remember correctly? But it seems early for any sort of football activity to be taking place in practices. We were up at Green Bay Preble High School last Thursday at our show up there talking about education, and they have a beautiful new addition there, including a beautiful new football field at Green Bay Preble. I look out, and here's the football guys and the coaches going through drills already. So I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but were there violations here, or has football practice already started?
One of the things I noted, I wrote an article for Civic Media and its websites that went up earlier this week, talked about all the changes to high school sports this year. And it feels like this year we've had more changes than past years. And one of those changes that was voted on in the annual meeting by school administrators this past April was changing summer contact. So summer coaching contact days in Wisconsin used to be limited to just 5 days. You had 5 days if you weren't a spring sport to actually, if you were a coach, somebody with the school, to work with student athletes. And that was changed with the vote in April to make it, and I say unlimited, but there are restrictions to it, unlimited coaching contact June 1st to July 31st. There's restrictions. You can't do it the week of July 4th. Football is for the week prior to the first practice. So there's different periods for no contact, but by and large, we can call it unrestricted coaching contact. And the reason why this was done was that the only people that really had to track or report on these things were athletic directors. So it was just one of those things. Like, did a coach correct a free throw shooting form? Does that counts as a contact day? Well, if the coach did that, well, boom, that's one day that they can't talk to any students in their sport. It's a lot to manage, especially with all the competing workloads and things that are happening. So they opened it up to where you can now have coaching contact any day in June and for part of July. I think most schools were very responsible about it this year. I know we were. We limited to just 4 off-season practices and a handful of workouts throughout the summer. The weight room's always open. The open gyms are always there. But a lot of schools, took advantage of it by doing a few additional like one-on-one things. A little bit of training, whether it's basketball or hockey or football or whatever it is. It just makes it a lot less cumbersome to have to track. Okay, I got 5 days. Where do we use these? What's the most effective use of having only 5 days that we can work with students? So that was one of the big rule changes this year.
And when you say contact, just for our listeners to make sure we're clear, we're not talking about like physical contact when in football where they can like clash or hit each other. You're talking about contact in terms of, can a coach work with, basically talk to and work with a player on any of these sports? That's what.
Correct. That's exactly what it is, Todd. And that's the thing. Like in the summer, even in football, there's restrictions on, using helmets and shoulder pads and things like that. You can't wear full pads in any summer practice. And the big thing in all of this is, even with this expanded coaching contact rule, it can never be mandatory. It's completely voluntary. So coaches can't hold it against you if you're not there in the summer.
I'm only laughing because this all seems very foreign to me as someone who went to high school in the 80s, and the late, great Elvitus Rip was our, I could just hear him, these rules now, oh, geez, you want contact, miss a play, I'll contact you. I mean, he was, and the thing is, Coach Rip was a lovely man and had the heart of gold, but when it came to football, he was intense. And I think, for those of us of a certain age, I don't know, it was like, if the weight room was open and your football coach was also the athletic director and also the Phi Ed teacher, and he happened to be there and said, oh, geez, you got some great form here. Let me help. I mean, nobody said anything. It wasn't a big deal. And now there's all these rules. And I don't know. Is this too much, Jimmy, or is this protecting the student athletes now we have, and maybe this is a segue into this. Now there's NIL for high school.
I know the coaching type you're talking about because my high school football coach was Daryl Gago, who's in the Hall of Fame up at Flambeau. So I'm very well aware of the type of coach you're describing. There are a lot of changes, which is why I spent some time kind of going through everything this year, because in past years, there's always changes. They tweak things, rules to be a little more common sense. Maybe there's a rule with how things are going in the playoffs. Maybe they find an issue with seeding. They want to address it. But this year, it just seems like we've had an overwhelming number of changes to go through. So not in addition to the coaching contact thing, which I think is a little underrated, I think the two big things that people will point to as changes this year are going to be NIL, which you mentioned, I'll talk about here in a second, and then the new rule for spectator and sportsmanship. So I'll start with NIL. And NIL, I think, for lack of a better way of putting it, has become kind of a dirty term in sports. Just because people have seen it was done at the college level. But Wisconsin was one of 9 states at the time it was adopted to not have any policy towards NIL. And what was happening in these remaining states, and what is happening, is that if it's not being taken up by the state high school sports associations, it's being taken up by legislatures, and you don't want politics in high school sports. So
no.
Wisconsin had this go through last year. It failed. But it came back this year with much more time, more data, more reasons why they pointed to it being something that could be tenable. And the thing is that the high school version of NIL is a lot different than the college NIL, to the point that it's almost impossible to get a name, image, and likeness deal if you're somebody, just an average student athlete in an average town, whatever. You have to be truly elite to benefit from this, because if you're in a rural town like the one I live in, for example, there's a restriction that anybody who's contributed to a school, its athletics fund, or its booster club, anybody at that business, their employees, spouses, whatever, they cannot contribute to an NIL deal. So in a small town, that pretty much takes everybody off the table, because, a lot of small towns have maybe 5 or 6 main employers tops, and, pretty much everybody in town works at them. So NIL is going to be for truly elite student athletes in probably more urban or suburban areas. And there's only been a handful of these deals that have been publicly announced so far too.
By the way, our director of operations, Luke Mathers, has chimed in. He says, I do not use the verb ping, because I said earlier that Luke pinged Jimmy Kuska. I was taking a little liberties with the story for dramatic effect.
It makes the noise, though. It makes the ping noise when when I saw it flash up on my screen. So
Luke, I didn't mean to misrepresent Luke Mathers' use of verbs.
Well, whether or not he says he pinged Jimmy, he did ping Jimmy.
Not using the word, but yeah, I get what you're saying. But no, I think this is important, Jimmy, because I think in all seriousness, when a lot of people across Wisconsin heard that, oh my gosh, there's going to be NIL now in high school, and they're seeing these deals that college, players are getting $1 million and that sort of thing. And everybody thought that, the quarterback for the local high school football team was going to be driving a new Dodge Ram. And there might be, as you said, there might be a half a dozen of those in Wisconsin, but because, and correct me if I'm stating it wrong, that to your point, that if you have the local car dealership and they're already a sponsor up on the scoreboard at the football field, they're ineligible. Their wife or their spouse, they're ineligible. So, I mean, there's all these rules, and it makes it a very small pool of actually who's eligible to give to NIL and then who's really eligible to receive.
Yeah, and Todd, think of the ROI on that if you're a business owner. Are you going to give a 16, 17-year-old kid a new car and hope that it brings in business? Probably not, but, that's the thing.
And
we live in a different era. Yeah, right. So we're in a different era of things. So this policy is meant. I think it's really just meant to just kind of help out with some of the other. I think really the biggest thing is if you put a kid on a poster to promote a camp or something, where you can't mention the school, can't mention a conference, the WIAA, but if you have somebody's faces on a poster or something for a skills camp or something, that's no longer not permitted as long as all the other things are satisfied. So that's really the big reason for the policy.
We're talking to Jimmy Kuska, sports director at Civic Media. A couple minutes left, Jimmy. Any other big changes that folks should know on WIAA coming up this fall?
Yeah, probably the biggest one that's going to affect the people most broadly is that there's a spectator rule. So a few years ago, the WIAA said if you get tossed out of a game, you have to miss one additional game. There's a 1-game suspension if you're a spectator. Well, now there's a new part of this. You still have to do the suspension, but until you can, but you're not allowed to come back until you take an online course through the NFHS. It's free. It's about 20 minutes long, but it's a sportsmanship course that you have to pass, have the certificate, PDF, make sure you send it into that venue's manager in order to be allowed back in. So in addition now to a 1-game suspension, if you're a spectator tossed from a game, you now have to take an online sportsmanship course in order to be allowed back in. I say broadly affecting people. I don't think that like you're losing 30 fans a game to it. And if you are, you have much bigger problems. But this is something that does affect people beyond high school sports in general. If you're at a game and for whatever reason you get ejected, well, now you have an additional step to take in order to come back to that venue.
Very good. In my opinion, I love this because you officiate as well. I mean, there are too many people out there giving their time as officials for high school sports who it's beyond getting razzed now. It's become physical in some cases. It's become verbally abusive from these parents who think that their kid is the next starting quarterback at the D1 college. So I'm happy for this. This needs to be controlled.
Yeah, they have taken a lot of steps with officiating to address the fan behavior components and try to make it better for officials. So I'm good with this move too.
Jimmy Kuska, our sports director at Civic Media. Thanks, Jimmy. We appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Come on back. We'll, if Jimmy wants to stick around, we're going to talk about naked French tourists. Don't go anywhere on the Civic Media Radio Network. You're welcome to stay if you want.
One station at a time.
I'll stick around just for the laughs, but man, that's awesome.
All right, very good. All right, very good.
So my segment with Pat Krilo this morning was on bubblers and lacrosse. So I'm gonna bookend this day with fun stories. So
from bubblers to butts.
Do you want to stay? Do you want to stay up, or do you want me to pop you into the green room?
You can stay up if you want. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm just saying up to you. Whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm here just to help laugh about it, and then you guys can cut me loose. Whatever you guys want to do.
That's fine.
In Madison, find specials, menus, and more at LazyOafLounge.com.
Back to school is on the brain. That means new notebooks, pencils, new everything. And while the kids are getting ready to get book smart, it's time for you to save smart with Straight Talk Wireless. Switch now and get a free Moto G 2025 with 5G when you activate select plans. Now that's a smart call. Get Straight Talk covered by Verizon's 5G network. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Offer valid through 10/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Purchase of gold unlimited plan or higher required for offer. Must activate the plan in-store at Walmart. Cannot be combined with other offers.
Hey, Gordy. How you doing?
Oh, Arthur, great. Great to see you. What are you doing in the studio?
Well, I need to talk to you about doing a commercial.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, to get a commercial on the air here, you just go down to the sales department. It's right next to the bathroom.
I don't think you understand.
Oh, I understand plenty. You salespeople drink a lot of coffee. That's why the bathroom's right there.
Right, but I need to have you make a commercial about commercials.
Wait. A commercial about a commercial? I don't follow.
I want to tell potential business owners out there how to contact me to get a commercial on WMDX.
Okay, I get it. Okay, let's come up with something. Let's see. Business folks can contact you directly, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
what's the email, huh?
Okay, so it's sales at WMDXradio.com.
Excuse me. Wait, run that by me again.
Sales at WMDXradio.com. So we could put all that together and get into a commercial, get on the air soon?
Arthur, my friend, I think we just did.
Advertise on WMDX Radio. Email Arthur, sales at
I'm sorry, Summer, you told me this before the show, but is there, do we need to cut the promo for tomorrow, or is there somebody coming in after us?
There's no one coming in after.
Right.
511WI.
We have time, imagine that.
Or download the free 511 app to see current road work, closures, detours, and camera views on your route. Wherever your travels take you, know before you go with 511WI.gov. That's 511WI.gov.
Watching our news
And
inbox
remember,
fill up
know
with traffic
before
alerts
you
from
go.
Milwaukee right now. It's pretty
Always park the
entertaining.
phone while driving.
I'm sure.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin DOT.
Brewers Cubs, man, that's always a nightmare to go to. Driver.
Yeah. When you shop at Dane County Humane Society.
It's all over.
Thrift Store West on Watts Road.
Cubs
and Thrift
10,
Store
Brewers
East on
3.
High
All right,
Crescent
here we go.
Boulevard.
Perry, in the spring. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
The naked people, they are everywhere.
That's what he was waiting to do. 8 minutes before the hour of 4 o'clock at the top of the hour, ABC, CBS, or James Kelly News, whichever one of our great stations you listen to. Weather update with our great weather team, the great Mike Clemens, sports reporter at Lambeau Field. Practice is underway for the preseason. Clemens will have the details on that. And probably it is just finished. It's all over in Milwaukee. The Cubs, they were ticked off. Craig Counsell was ticked. And the Cubs come back to win the last game of the 3-game series, 10-3. Your final score, Cubs over the Brewers, and just got done down in Milwaukee at AmFam Field, which means, and Jimmy Kuska, our sports director, is still with us. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy. I believe that means that Milwaukee will finish the series with a 1-game lead over the Cubs in the NL division.
The most shared meme right now in our sports chat here at Civic Media is trying to find Milwaukee on a map is same as looking at the standings. You find Chicago and then look up, and there's Milwaukee, and that's still the case. So, yeah, it's a game lead right now. 1 game. Here we go.
It would have been nice because they came in today 2 full games. If the Brewers would have won today, it would have been a 3-game lead over Chicago. But hey, you know what? It could
There's
have
still
been
2 months to go. It's a long season,
right,
man.
and they could have come out of this with down 3 games to the Cubs. So I'll take up 1. They won the series, so that's good. Good on the Brewers, but they lost today, 10-3 to the Cubs. All right, now Jimmy, you've stuck around. Zomer said he's been to London before. Have you ever been to Europe? Have you ever traveled to Europe, Jimmy Kuska?
I have not. The only foreign country I've been to is Minnesota. So I've been to Canada. Doesn't really count, but yeah.
I've been to
Never
Canada.
Europe.
Been to Central America. I've not been to Europe yet. But here now, according to CNN Travel, headline: French resort town cracks down on quote unquote half-naked visitors. Let's see. I would have failed broadcasting pronunciation school on this one. Here we go. A French resort town has introduced fines for people found to be walking around topless or in their swimsuits anywhere other than the beach. Authorities in La Sabelle-d'Olonne, located in the Vendée region of France's Atlantic coast, have announced fines of up to 150 euros, that's 175 US bucks, for those walking around the town, quote unquote, half naked, according to a Facebook post from Mayor Yannick Moreau, published today. Railing against the this is even women. He's railing against topless men. I personally say, what's wrong with that? Railing against topless men, Moreau criticized the quote-unquote indecent behavior. He wrote, quote, "It's a question of respect for locals who don't want people wandering around their town half-naked," Moreau said. He went on to say, "It is also a rule of basic hygiene in our markets, our shops, our streets." He called on local police to ensure that the rule is enforced. This is the mayor again saying, quote, "If you want to show off your pecs and your best swimming shorts in La Semelle-de-Blanc, there are 11 kilometers of beach at your disposal."
I feel like if the issue is that people are going into businesses like this, just do no shirt, no shoes, no service.
I say, fire up. And we're going to end this today with Kenny Chesney. No shirt, no shoes, no problem. That's, what do you think about this, Jimmy?
Who's actually complaining? Is it just one guy that's got an agenda? Is it like a bunch of people complaining? Like, I don't get it. Like, is it just one person with power in government saying you can't do this anymore? Or is there actually like legit like community uprising against this kind of thing?
I mean, I don't think people should be going into, say, a concert, like a proper orchestra or something topless. I mean, that's you don't want that. I don't even think you want people necessarily going to a proper supermarket inside without a shirt on, especially if you're sweaty. But if you're just walking around, I mean, come on. If the French are going to say you can't walk around without a shirt on, maybe they should start shaving. Because the French don't shave enough. Heather on Facebook says Americans are the worst dressed in Europe. Before her daughter went to Spain, kids were given the directive to remember they were representing their school in America. Dress conservatively. Cut off shorts, micro skirts not allowed. Now that I agree with. And also have a shirt or wrap to cover the shoulders. And also, only Americans wear pajama pants in public.
I feel like not that many of us do that either.
I don't know. I see a lot of that.
You've been to a Walmart at 10 in the morning, man? Come on.
Well, Walmart is a unique place.
That's funny, Jimmy. Yeah, that is you ever play Walmart bingo?
I have not, but it seems really familiar to. There's a website called People of Walmart that is what you'd expect.
Now, look, I'm having a little fun with this. I mean, I agree that, I mean, some of the stuff that I was in retail for a while at LLB, and I'm telling you, some of the stuff that particularly young girls wore in there, it was like, come on. I mean, it was just, I think, inappropriate, indecent. But I'm not sure that a guy not wearing a shirt walking through the downtown of a French city, I'm not sure that's indecent.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so. Like, people are shirtless in America too.
Right.
And they're just like, out for a run or whatever, or mowing the lawn. It's like, you know what? If you don't want to see it, don't look.
I just get amused because I think the French,
it is funny.
The French sometimes take themselves a little too seriously, I think. But I also agree with Heather that as in general, Americans probably aren't formal enough sometimes. Jimmy, what say you?
There is something to be said for wearing something appropriate when you're out and about. But I would tend to agree. Seeing the stuff, I used to work in merchandising, so I go into a lot of grocery stores and stuff, and you'd see what people wear there. Boy, that was wild sometimes.
Many thanks to Jimmy Kuska, our sports director, for joining us. Thanks, Jimmy. We appreciate you. Pat Kreitlow, mornings with Pat Kreitlow every morning from 6 until 9, and Zomer's on the board. Be like Kenny Chesney. No shirt, no shoes, no problem. Maggie Dawn is next. Whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, do not give up. Keep banging your drum. See you tomorrow.
No shirt, no problems, no problems.
Thanks, Jimmy. That was fun.
I'm glad I stuck around, Matt. Thanks. Good rest of your day.
Have a great day. Bye.
And before I end the stream, I'm going to play that Bang on the Hood thing real quick.
Oh, yeah.
For people who
All right,
watch
here
it.
we go. Hey, everybody. Dane County Humane Society reminds you, hey, bang on the hood of your vehicle before starting your engine this winter. It's that simple. You can save a cat's life. With frigid temperatures and little shelter, some cats are going to try to find a way to keep safe and warm, including, guess where? Under car hoods and in the wheel well of your vehicle. So before climbing into your vehicle and starting the engine, bang on the hood and give cats an opportunity to flee. To learn more, visit giveshelter.org. Nicely done. Zombers did all the work on that. That was good.
I had to do the cat noises. You have to.
That's great.
All right,
All right,
goodbye,
everybody. We
everyone.
appreciate it. Have a great night, afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.